to order, pledge of allegiance. Yes, but we'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we'll call this meeting to order. The Town Council, it's a special meeting, dated Tuesday, August 13th, 2019. Commence at 5:30. And if we do a roll call.
Mike McLaughlin here.
Debbie Cobb here.
Marty Lisenby here.
Paul Edwardson here.
Dave Asher.
And so we got discussion and action on our agenda for the engineering engagement agreement with Sunrise Engineering. We put out an RFP on this, and they were the only ones that responded to the RFP. And just a little history and background. You know, we started out with Rudd Mills engineering on a stormwater project, and then I interviewed Jones and Mill and had them out here physically on premises, and we drove and discussed over the course of quite a bit of time what they wanted to do and could do. And I didn't care for the conversation really, because it felt like some of the answers they gave me weren't favorable to what our needs were. And I met Marv before. I don't really know him other than I met him somewhere along the line. And I asked him about it. And come to find out, he has people in his office that have gone through this process on the stormwater thing for FEMA and successfully, got the money for communities. And I thought, that's the kind of guy we need, that they've been through it, they know what they're looking for, they know what we gotta do for FEMA. And that's how we've created this, is that you need this if you want to get the big money from FEMA. And it could be that when it's all done, that we don't get the money from FEMA. That's always a possibility. But what they're going to be doing here is engineering that helps us in the future if we have, for example, any stormwater issues like with Jefferson Canyon. We're going to have them review Jefferson Canyon at the point that we're coming up with engineering on that. And they would help us mitigate, knowing what we can do to handle the water, because they don't know how much water we got to handle, they don't know what size pipe, where it's got to be, and all of that, these washes. And right now, we're shooting from the hip when we do some of this stuff. And any subdivision or any bill that comes in, we're just not even equipped to properly handle the paperwork that they give us. And anyway, so some of the stuff they're doing is also impact fee analysis. One of the things I was going to mention on the stormwater thing, the thing that I also liked about Sunrise Engineering is they came up with a proposal that said these washes where we have these hillsides sloughing off, that they're aware of another funding source that would help for wash stabilization. And it's a grant source and some money that once they have this, how much water, so forth, flow we have, they can go to this other grant source and see if we can get some grant funding, and then we can stabilize maybe some of these washes, these backyards that are kind of sloughing off. And it's something that Jones DeMille and Nita did, Rod Mills, RE Square Engineering mentioned to me at all. So I think these guys are just, a good source to have on our site, because they understand the funding process, how to get the money and where to get it, and so forth. So.
And it's not their first
Not the
rodeo,
first
so
rodeo
it's
at all.
good that they have the
Yeah.
experience to help us.
Is there any questions or anything that you guys have?
What is their total cost to do these studies?
What we have is in the work release item, there's an itemized list in here of what they're going to do.
I put together kind of a simplified version.
Do you have
Want
it?
me to go over that? It's right up
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
Can you guys read that?
Not at all.
Perfect.
Can you?
I can go over it verbally. Basically, what this is showing, I mean, I could zoom in, I
Yeah,
guess.
zoom in on it. There's a plus button on the right hand side of the zoom button.
Is that in here in the packet anywhere, Ben?
I didn't include it in the packet, I just put this together in response to Denny's question.
Oh, there you go.
So the stormwater portion is 68,500, that's the bulk of it. Then there's the next three are all impact fee related, 2,200 for public safety, 6,700 for parks, and 9,000 for roadway. And the last item is water system mapping for a grand total of $100,000, which we have received a confirmation from CIB that we have a $50,000 grant available.
Grant that a matching grant or just $50,000
A
grant?
matching grant.
It's a matching grant, so.
CIP, you got 50,000, right?
And then in the bank account, we've got another 50 that we can spend. 25 of it what we'll do is the stormwater, part of it, we would match whatever that is out of our stormwater fund.
Okay.
So it's cash, it's not a borrowed money. And then out of the impact fee part of it, we can use impact fees to do an impact fee study.
Sure.
And we have those funds as well, so we're paying cash for the rest of what we'll be doing.
Well, what I was getting at too, the total versus what we have available, so we don't have to go out and borrow money.
No, we don't.
Okay.
We're not gonna borrow any money on this. And we're not spending everything we have either.
Even though we're gonna use some of our impact fee money, and we're gonna use some of our storm grant money, but we still have money available in our funds, right?
Right, right. Yeah, we have enough in the stormwater money, we still might, I wanted them to get through this enough that they have a handle on how much water we're talking about, so they have an idea. Like with a minor property or Mount Zion Drive, those areas that are flooding, how much water we have to deal with, and so they can figure out what size pipeline they're going to eventually recommend. And we might want to throw in one of those pipelines ahead of actually getting a FEMA grant. So we still have some funds available, we could probably pull that off as well and pay cash. So,
And that's
anyway,
not-
we're just trying to, maximize our, because you think about this, we're ready to do a impact fee study, and just pay cash for it because it
Right,
didn't,
yeah.
but in the process of doing the stormwater, might as well just see if we can get a grant, throw it in together and.
Okay, that's not gonna eliminate any of our funds that we have available, is it? Where it takes us down to nothing, or we have to start all over?
So currently, if we look at stormwater in isolation, it's going to cost us $68,000.
Okay.
But we have the $50,000 grant, and we have $90,000 available to spend of the stormwater.
90,000, okay.
9,000?
90,
Oh, it says 9,000 on there.
plus so
Oh,
9,000
okay,
is from
fine.
impact fees, 80,000 is from the money we collect on a monthly basis.
Okay, so we do have that money there, okay.
And the impact fees is how much we have available?
We have 9,000 from
Okay, 9,000.
impact fees. But, this, like we said, we have that grant money, so basically whatever's left over,
So we'll have to come up with roughly about $52,000, and we have it available in these funds, so we don't eliminate those funds completely.
Right.
We need to have money left in those funds for emergencies. And we do have a general fund where we still have emergency money if we need it, right?
yep.
Right.
Okay.
And the whole goal is to, the guy that goes to FEMA and says we need some money is gonna have his homework done, and that's why I'm trying to do the homework. The emotional part of it is getting photographs of, like some of these people that have flooding problems, solicit those photographs that we need, because we want the emotional part of this sales pitch to FEMA, and then we have the engineering part of it, which will take care of the engineering part of it. And, there's,
This is progress thing as they go along, so it's not,
Right.
it's gonna be 100,000, they're gonna, okay.
and this is the engineering, this isn't all the way through the end on the FEMA stuff. We'll probably end up having, to even pay for some application money and somewhere along
Sure.
the line when we get to.
For the FEMA.
For FEMA.
Yeah, it'll be separate from what we're talking about.
It's
on
an
this
extensive
right now.
application process to do it properly.
Mhm.
You-
Well, and our hopes that it'll actually get done where it wasn't getting done before.
Right, but I know more today than when I hired Rod Mills as far as the process, and oh my gosh, this is not like fill out a form and hand it in and see if you get the money kind of a situation. And, I mean, these guys want a lot of information.
Yeah, it's never happened before anyway.
I've since had
Exactly.
meetings with FEMA and asked questions, and I've heard them talk about these programs, and a couple of their meetings that I've attended, and, you know, the money's there, and it's just a matter of who does the best job on the presentation, who looks like they're really hurting for it. And that's what we want to portray. It's like,
Right.
look at all this water we have, and it's doing this damage. It's in our septic systems, you know, flooding those things, and it becomes a bacterial hazard, and, you know, so it's a sales pitch that we want to give it to FEMA, and, but we gotta ask the paperwork.
We're gonna talk about everything.
And at the end of the day, you know what, we might not get the FEMA money, there's always that possibility, but if we don't do this stuff, we won't get FEMA money.
Right.
And at least if we raise
don't
the
try.
chances to 50 or 75%, at least,
Mhm.
you know. And when it's all done, we didn't waste the money, because we still need to know this information as far as the town goes, you know, so. Anyway, that's kind of my feeling on it. Do you have any other questions, Denny, on it? or-
No, I'm just concerned that we don't, take our budgets that we have impact and drain fees and everything down to nothing, or we have nothing in case there's an emergency. We have an emergency fund, which how much is in our?
It's about 145.
125 in our rainy day fund?
Mhm.
Okay, and that's actually cash? In cash?
Yep.
Okay. I'm a firm believer in having some backup just in case we need it.
Well, it's a
So,
good idea.
to help give you an idea of where this would leave us financially, the last column up here, 55,000 is what would be left in stormwater money. A negative amount indicates that we would have to pull that from unassigned funds, but that's in total is
$1,200, $1,300.
yeah. So, and then we'd have 23,000 left over in road impact fee money for spending, so. This gives us an idea of where we're at, where it leaves us after the study and after the CIV grant money.
Did you have a discussion with Sunrise people about what our chances were for getting that FEMA money? Or did they have any idea?
Well, you know, during the interview process, the comment, I specifically asked that, what's the chances of it's happening? He says, the program is designed for this problem that we have. So as far as the program lining up with what is going on in the town, he says it dovetails nicely. He says FEMA won't, for example, do wash stabilization. But there's another funding source for that, and that's how that came up. Because I was worried about some of these backyards that are sloughing off, and he says they won't do wash stabilization, but as far as figuring out where you put a detention basin in to help catch the storm water, to help slow the water down, so we, you know, things like that are, you know, they're thinking big picture, permanent fix, not Band-Aids. Because the Band-Aid is you can go up to Mount Zion Drive and you can throw a pipeline in, and that helps somewhat. That's a Band-Aid.
Not a permanent fix, though.
Yeah, it's not, you know, what they want to do is surgery, they want to fix the problem. But they want to go up ahead of the water, clear past John Payne's house even,
Mhm.
put in a detention basin, let's slow the water down there. Let's take the water off the hill, you know, different things like that. And
Right.
they're just thinking, better solutions, I think, overall, and that's gonna take, some deeper pockets and things like that to create, but, they felt like that what we're selecting is, dovetails nicely with what FEMA wants to do. He says, you just never know who else is going to be, competing against that money in the moment that you're applying. So applying this time, I mean, if you have some, you know, deaths in another community, that, I mean, there's always a chance that someone else gets a sadder story than ours. And I mean, as far as FEMA goes, what we're asking for is a small amount of money. A couple $1 million or something is tiny compared to everything else. And at the end of the day, we can still, you know, the next thing that's gonna be hitting our desk is if we decide to move forward with this, it would be with a CIB grant for $250,000. And Because we've got to come up with $500,000. And so that would be grant, figure out what cash we want to, and, loan. We can do a CIB loan for our other 250,000. And some of this money that we're spending, like even this money today, counts towards that 250,000. So if we put 50,000 towards this, we get to deduct that.
It's like money in the bank for the,
Right. And so now.
So it would actually go back into the coffers rather than.
And if we spend that other, let's say, for example, on a minor pipeline, we decide, let's go ahead and do that. It's, the ballpark, what's called $40,000. And we pay cash for that. That's money that can also go against this 250,000 because it's money that's in the scope of work that we're gonna be doing, even though we've done it ahead of time. And so that can count against that as well. So, by paying cash for some of this, we could end up only doing a loan from CIB for 175, we got 75 cash into it. And at that point, we would have another noose around our neck, so to speak, as far as that. But at some point, we got to bite off this bullet and fix these drainage problems.
The money we're paying Sunrise can't go against that also or not?
Yes,
The
everything,
total?
pretty much. Well, I want to say pretty much everything, but it's, see, when we're going, some of this is impact fee related, it's
Yeah.
not stormwater.
Okay.
And so when we're going for a stormwater grant, it's the stormwater part of this would be, that everything we paid in engineering right now would count towards that money. And it's I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of what they.
What about the FEMA money, what's their estimated cost of working with that to try to get the FEMA money?
Well, I don't think they can go after the FEMA money until the study's finished, right? Just so they can
Yeah.
show FEMA what we're talking about. Why are we?
Well, I was wondering if they.
I want to
give
say
you kind
that,
of idea.
I want to say that I know I've asked that question. I don't remember
What
the number
the
exactly, but he also said that they would probably get some grant money to help pay for that as well.
Okay, so when
For
they're
another
applying
source.
for the FEMA, they can get the grant money to help pay for that
Help
versus
pay.
taking it out of the FEMA money that we get.
Right, and even if it comes out of the FEMA money that we get, you got a couple $1 million coming in, 20 or 30,000. I don't remember what the cost of that grant paperwork was. So,
what I like about it is that it's a long-term fix,
right,
in depth, not just,
Right.
let's put a Band-Aid on it.
Right.
right. And it's a lot of money to spend, and it's, I'd be kidding myself and you guys if I told you it's, makes me nervous to spend this kind of money anyplace. And, cause you gotta take pause and say, is this the right thing to do? And because it is a lot of money, and it's, because it's public money,
That's what makes me nervous.
I've counseled with Marv or Sunrises, I can't afford to screw up on this. We've got to have, that we're doing what we need to, but not more than what we need to. And as far as the impact fee stuff, it's kind of like, it just has to get done. Anyway, any other comments or questions? You have any comments on it? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I had a question. How it relates to the water district? So is any work with the water district completely separate from this agreement?
Yeah, the water district, there can be some items in here that you could consider water district or not consider water district. I mean, it's some of the, even with the water district, in some cases, they don't even know. They say they know what they have. I've asked for the paperwork, and 2 months later, I still don't have any of it. And so some of this engineering, I've talked to Harold, and says, if you've got some of this, I've even taken to the meeting with Sunrise Engineering, so he knows what the scope of work is. He still hasn't come up with anything that could be something. I've just told Marv, I says, if we already have this information, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. But we don't know what we have, because between the Ensign, Rod Mills, Harold Merritt, none of them responded to anything. And it's not, I don't know, it's kind of frustrating to me.
Can any of this cost be absorbed by the SSD?
They're,
Especially if we're gonna start making it into local, some people will.
You talking in regards to the water system mapping specifically?
yeah, there's $13,600.
The water district has already paid Ensign Engineering to do that. It's in the minutes.
Right, GIS utility mapping, we pointed them to that as well, and, Sunrise looked at what we have GIS right now. The water modeling is not done. Water modeling is where they basically, computerize, pressures and, line, sizes. And, so if you have somebody, let's say, phase 2 of Canaan Springs area, decides they want to build, their 60 homes out there, do you have enough pressure? The water modeling helps you answer that question. And based on pressure and pipe sizes, and they can model and see if they're gonna have sufficient pressures. I'm not aware that we have anything like that right now. And there is some more work to be done, and there's a different funding source for the water district side of this. I think that they need to do some of this because they also want to put a pipeline in that connects. I think today's the right day to do that, but when we do that, we're gonna end up needing to go and borrow a bunch of money to do that pipeline. And having this information, engineering available, is pertinent to get a yes answer out of that as well, because we can demonstrate the need for it. And when they're all done, we're gonna better know the performance of like Cedar Point, for example. How in trouble are we, or are we in trouble with Cedar Point, based on any of the data that we get? And that's the information we'll end up with. And it could be that someplace along the line, the water district gets on board and provides us some data. Today we don't have it though. At that point, obviously we wouldn't do it twice, but, so anyway.
Might want to suggest a grammar request that gives them 14 days.
I just don't understand why we have to ask for grammar request
Because
to
we're in
get
the time
information that the
we are.
town should have already.
I hear you. And you don't have it.
I do agree, if they have it, they should give it to us, or we should charge them for all the water systems that we're gonna go looking at with Sunrise.
Can we do a grammar request for them?
Sure, yeah, we can do that. So, we'll put one together.
It puts a spur on
Some of
their,
that stuff just
side.
lands on Ben's desk, and that's the one I have cringe on grammar request, because
I
everybody,
apologize in advance.
you guys probably don't know, but we're just getting flogged to death with grammar
Inundated.
requests. Flogged.
But this is $10,000. It's worth grammar request.
Yeah.
Because if they already have it,
It
it
could be
saves
more than that,
$10,000.
because this doesn't include all of the impact fees.
Right.
You know, when they do the impact fee for water, we need to know all of the systems and, I mean, they know them personally because they're out there every day working on them, but,
Towns know too.
but we don't have, we can't do an impact fee without the engineers knowing what they have. And so if they provide that information to engineers, it saves us money. If they don't provide it, it's gonna need to get done one way or
Might I
another.
suggest that someone calls Mark, gets specific wording to exactly what we're looking for in the grammar request, so
That's
that
not a
they
bad idea.
can't hide behind the wrong verbiage or not asking for the right information.
That's a good idea. So, anyway, any other questions?
Sorry, Ben.
We've never asked.
roughly in a ballpark, if we get all the grants, we get the CIB funding, we get the FEMA, we'll put towards what we have on hand, we're looking at probably borrowing around 175,000 to 200,000, is that correct?
Yeah,
And we're collecting currently about 33,000 a year and roughly. So you're looking at 5 to 6 years max on paying it back, if we devoted all the money.
well, that's if we diverted all the money to that, we could.
10 years at the most,
We
if we
could look at it
devoted
that way.
75% of it.
And here's the other scenario that I should play out too. Because, the goal here is to get that $2 million, and it could be that they don't give us $2 million, they say yes to something else, less than that, and then that lowers down how much we need for grant and for, I mean, we can keep that amount of money. So, see, the process is probably around October, we're gonna go for the CIB grant for the FEMA money. And if they say yes to that, then it's in December when we go before FEMA to ask for the grant. And then at that point, we'll know where we're at. Not December, I should back up and say that it's probably in, a couple months, maybe February before they actually do any awarding and, maybe even March, something like that, before we actually find out if we get the money or not. But at the end of the day, we can go through with our CIB money if we choose to, with this $500,000, and we can, by then we'll know what we gotta do where. We could start with a pipeline, we could, at Mount Zion Drive, we start fixing some of the stuff with that money, whether or not we know that we have that other grant coming in. And if they say no on the other grant, we've already started doing what we need to do with just CIB money. And that's a possibility that we can consider doing. So,
But you'd have an engineered plan. And
but
you
it's
can
also,
chunk off.
it would also be a Band-Aid though, it wouldn't be the permanent fix we wanna do, because we need probably bigger money to, throw some D9s out there to create detention basins and, things like that, so. But it's not gonna be wasted engineering, because we still need this to figure out how to fix the problem permanently. But that is an option we have, and it could be we just put it on ice and we go back to FEMA a year later if we find out how close we were to getting it, because somebody else had a better song and dance. It doesn't mean that ours isn't still a valid claim. So, but anyway, we can talk about that when it comes, but that's a couple of the options we have.
I think this is the right step in the right direction with what we're doing right here, because we need to fix these problems anyway.
Yeah.
And the community's been asking us to fix it, and this is the first major step of getting that done in the right way. Because it wasn't happening with Enzyme.
No. No, it wasn't happening with Rod Mills.
Nope.
Me and Johnson Mill didn't have anybody that I've talked to that had been through the process. They just knew of the program, but they hadn't been through the process to know all the ins and outs, so they were wanting to charge us just for the application that's already been completed for CIB. They were wanting to charge us $4,000 just to complete that application, just to get the grant that we have so far to help pay for the engineering even. They wanted to charge us $4,000 to do that. And so far I don't see it built in Sunrise on that. Anyway, anybody want to make a motion then?
Well, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we accept the engagement agreement for the engineering and technical services for the town of Apple Valley from Sunrise Engineering.
Second that.
And vote.
Aye.
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 And motion carries. And I got one more item on there.
I make a motion, we adjourn tonight's special meeting on Tuesday, August 13, 2019.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.